Hello and welcome back to the old realms, and we're here attempting to take back one of our towns that the vampires have just run over. They were very efficient. They took this with very minimal effort actually, and well, I unfortunately wasn't able to get here in time to be able to enter into the siege defense or into basically any kind of defensive posture whatsoever. I didn't even see them, which is actually quite funny. I was attempting to get here, but it just took me a very long time. I'm actually not entirely sure why it's taking me so long to walk from point A to point B. I can only assume it is because most of my allies don't actually have any mounted troops. It could very well be that they just don't have any mounted troops, and as a result they are making it very difficult for us to move around the map as and when we want to do so. So it might actually be the case that I'm going to be disbanding our army, but it very much depends on what happens after this, because as you can no doubt tell, we have a similar situation with the ladders here where the AI does tend to get a little bit stuck. I'm not entirely sure why that happens, but there you go. Anyway, there are very few enemy units here for us to defeat for any kind of recapture of this, so I shouldn't have to worry too much about it. I still have no idea why these icons are shining through the environment. It's kind of strange. Usually you're not going to see that kind of stuff, but anyway, only 4 enemies remaining. I actually wonder, do I need to go and open up the gates? I'm going to assume that that is maybe the case. Anyway, we do have piercing shots now, so I'm very much looking forward to doing an actual field battle. And I think, you know what? It may very well be that what we just need to do is make peace with the vampires. I know. I don't really want to do that either. But if we make peace with the vampires and then we focus on the other Empire faction that is still at war against us, by the way, we focus on them, then maybe that's going to make a difference. Maybe what we can do is we can, you know, hopefully push them back. We can teach them a lesson or two, and then we can refocus our efforts against the vampires. That's pretty much the only thing I can really think of right now, because otherwise we're going to be waging a war on 2 fronts, and that's going to be extremely difficult for us to deal with, as you can no doubt tell. We're very much having some problems with it. Anyway, I'm just going to go into the marketplace here now. Yeah, also, here's a funny thing. I did actually eliminate a couple of vampire vassals, and I captured them and then proceeded to execute them, because that's pretty much the only way that we can really stop them from continuing to run around the map. So I executed, I think, 4 or 5. They were all separate from each other, by the way, and they only had 200 units each. So it was a very simple matter of, you know, just auto-resolving against them. You know, you didn't miss anything, in other words. You didn't miss anything particularly crazy. Okay, so we have made peace with them now. Okay. Yeah, we have actually made peace with them now. Which is actually hilarious. I didn't even know we were going to make peace, but I took this back just beforehand. Unfortunately, they did manage to take these back, as you can quite clearly tell. This is good, though. This is actually good. This was, this was actually, funnily enough, what I just said to you would be an ideal situation, which is quite strange because I wasn't actually planning on making peace. I just thought, hey, you know what? If we do make peace with the vampires, then that's probably going to be alright, you know, that's probably going to be fine. It's not going to be a terrible thing to have happen, so pretty happy with that. Someone actually did mention as well that you can get some higher tier demigryph armor rather than just the 20 that we have, so I'm actually very much hoping that maybe we'll be able to do that. I don't know whether it's going to be possible, but it would be very cool if we could. And we're just going to be making these guys into parties once again. What? Only one of them? Could I? Oh, okay. I can't. Okay, I've got to do it one at a time. All right. Well, that's absolutely fine. There we go. Okay, so there's one of our friends there. That's absolutely fine. I would like to check for demigryph armor in here. It's highly unlikely it's going to be here, to be honest. I'm probably going to have to go to one of the actual Empire towns, because technically this is a yeah, this is another technically another faction's town that was taken quite some time ago by the Empire, of course. Alright, so yeah, anyway. We are going to move down over here. They are besieging Vertbad again. And what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to obviously defend that if we can. But I'm very much hoping that maybe because they have declared war against us, we may very well be in for some great territory expansion. If we can actually make that happen, I'll be very pleased. It seems like they are bombarding it at the moment, so we should theoretically be able to get there without too many difficulties. Doesn't look as though they are actually going in. They seem to want to destroy the walls. Whoa, there's a lot of defense. Ho ho, hello. Alright, this is a very large army. If we can defeat these guys, they will literally be dead. There is, I mean, like, I'm not even talking about... that was a very stupid thing to say, but what I'm actually saying is their faction will basically be done. That's what I'm saying. Obviously, if we defeat them, they're going to be eliminated. Yeah, of course. But I'm talking about their faction as a whole. That's obviously going to be a pretty big deal. All right. Let's see what happens. They're gonna go in. Oh, they lost. Oh, hello. They lost a bunch of mercenaries in that particular moment right there. So they have a lot less troops now, which is very nice. And I'm basically, are they waiting to get the walls down? I think they're waiting to get the walls down. That's actually hilarious. Well, once they go in, I think what I might do is I might try to go into the siege. See, now, here's the main problem. The main problem with me going into the siege and participating in the siege defense, I don't know whether you noticed this in one of the previous episodes where we actually did go into a siege defense. Basically, the main problem I'm going to have is I cannot resupply my ammunition. Because usually what you're going to be able to do is if you have a bow or if you have a crossbow or whatever, you can go to one of the arrow barrels and you can resupply your ammunition through that. But because we're using a gunpowder weapon, that is not how it works, unfortunately. And as a result, we are going to run out eventually. And that's... I'm not sure if that's a good thing. I'm really not sure if that's a good thing. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I'm just going to go in here real fast. We do have a bunch of people that really do need to recruit more troops. So I'm just going to go between these two villages for the moment. Did they just go in just now? I hope not. Well, whatever the case, I'm just going to go here anyway. No, they didn't. Okay, that's good. Okay, yeah, so technically what I could do is either we just want to leave this and, I mean, they're probably not going to be able to do it, are they? Do you think? Do you think they're going to be able to take this? I don't think so. But even if they are, they're going to sustain heavy casualties. And this is going to enable me to go over here and actually take this. So, shall we try it out? I think this is probably going to be the better use of my time. Because if I do decide to go and defend the town over here, well, what are we going to gain from it? Well, the only thing that I can think of right now is the possibility of being able to defeat that particular opponent. Yes, they have actually gone into the siege now. Okay. Yeah, we're going to have to do something about that after this particular siege. As you can see, we've got only 247 enemy units to fight. I think we should be completely fine here. But this is obviously, once again, not a given. You know, we've had situations like this in the past where we've just gone in and then just gotten completely smashed. So, hopefully that's not going to be the case here. But anyway, we're just going to continue to place mortars. I think this is probably going to be a really good position right here. Probably somewhere around here is going to be relatively decent. Maybe not. I don't know. We're just going to place them in a place where I think, hey, you know what? Maybe that's going to be alright, you know. It's going to be fun. Whoa, that was some damage. Wow, Elspeth once again coming in with the massive, massive strike at the very beginning. But that's it. That's all she's able to do in the very first part. Which is actually really sad because I feel like if she would continue lobbing spells, we're going to be in a great position. But Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to happen that often. Okay, yeah, so one of my mortars is actually doing relatively well so far. The other one is not doing well, so I'm not sure how that's going to go. But anyway, just going to try and clear these guys out if we can. Can I, Oh, are you serious? What? Did you see that? Yeah, the ladder is actually phased into the wall, and it makes things very buggy indeed. Okay, yeah, that obviously needs to get tweaked a little bit, in my opinion. But yeah, my forces are, as you can quite clearly tell, not really able to climb the ladders for some reason. They seem to be bugging out a little bit too. Anyway, hopefully there's going to be enough space for me to actually ascend this time around, because beforehand, well, you saw what happened. There were too many people at the frontier, and I wasn't able to actually... Oh, that happened again, huh? Yeah. Yeah, that happened again. You know what? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. You try getting up one of these ladders, and you see what happens, because it's gonna be exactly the same thing. It's not anything that I'm doing, which is really funny. Because you're gonna think that it's something I'm doing, because that's what happened to me in the past, or has happened to me in the past. But in this case, I refute that it is my fault. It is not my fault. It is the case that if an enemy decides to step in front of you, they're going to stop you from progressing, and then you're going to get over, you're going to get pushed over to the left or to the right or whatever. And that is generally what is happening. So as you can see here, well, we're apparently going to be going through the battlements. Oh. Yes, this castle is bugged. Yeah, this castle is bugged. Obviously, as I said to you before, this is very much a work in progress mod, and I can only hope that they fix this. I'm actually not entirely sure. Is this a base game thing? Maybe it's a base game castle, actually. I'm not entirely sure. If it isn't a base game thing, and it is a mod thing, then hopefully they're going to fix it. But if it's a base game thing, I have no idea. I have no words. Because this shouldn't be in the base game. They are, fully paid developers that... I mean, this should not happen in the base game. That's all I'm saying. It should not happen in a fully paid, basically AAA price game. Yeah. As you can see, the AI is also having some problems actually getting up there. This is the one ladder which would be absolutely fine for us to get up, but it's already victory. So... There's nothing much more for me to do here, unfortunately. I would have loved to, because don't get me wrong, I would love to be able to experience a little bit more fighting, because I actually find it super fun. I actually really like, shooting my little gun and running around with my massive sword, and I still haven't had an opportunity to test out my demigriff in a field battle yet. I'm actually very much hoping that we'll be able to do that. Anyway, let's make our way over to the town, and maybe we'll be able to actually help out with defending against these this massive army. Let's actually see what's happening here. Oh no, they're not actually going in. What? Oh, is it food? Is it food that they're losing right now? Ah, yeah, I think they actually have no food inside. That is probably the reason why that's happening, because as you can see, the enemy is not losing any troops. Usually that is what would be happening right now. Okay, so they did not actually progress inside. Okay, yeah, so they're basically just waiting until the entirety of the garrison has been eliminated, which is, of course, a very common strategy. So I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to move on. I'm actually going to move on to the other castle here. Actually, wait a minute, hello. This guy, we should probably fight him. This guy needs to go away, thank you very much. Yeah, because he's going to be a bit of a pain for us. I'm not going to be executing him. I'm just going to be taking him prisoner. And that's the thing. He's a minor faction. He's part of a minor faction. So that means that even if you do execute him, nothing happens. They're just going to, spawn more troops, more lords to be a part of the minor faction. Unless you get all of them into a prisoner type situation. I'm not going to explain any more about that. That's just a... it's just a thing that happens with minor factions. Anyway, we can actually just go straight on over to here. Hopefully we'll be able to take this. I'm hoping for around 250 troops in here. Maybe I should just go straight for the Should I go straight for the town? I'm kind of wondering whether I should go straight for the town. Oh, hello. Hello there, sir. Alright. It looks as though we will be actually attacking this guy. Hello there. Alright, wait a minute. Is he's traveling much faster than... No. We are faster than he is. We are faster than he is by 0.1. That's very funny in itself. Is he actually running into... He's running into the Cursed Lands. Why is he running into the Cursed Lands right now? Is he doing that on purpose? I'm actually unsure whether he was doing that on purpose, because if he is, that's a very smart individual, because that means that we are going to be weakened. Most of our higher tier troops are going to get eliminated, and then he may indeed have the opportunity to turn the tide, to turn the tables on us. But the tables have not turned just yet, or at least we can only hope that to be the case. Anyway, let's just take a quick look here. Just going to put someone on our cavalry just to make sure that they have all those wonderful bonuses. And okay, so they're 300 away. Let's have a look. Should I go for cannons here? I'm wondering whether we should. If I go for cannons or mortars, I'm not entirely sure. You know what? I kind of feel like a cannon. I feel a bit in a cannon mood this time around. So let's go for that. And we'll go for another one. This is pretty awful, isn't it? Oh yeah, this is pretty bad. Go for it around here. Yeah, I think that should be fine. Hopefully. Yeah, probably not, right? Probably not. It's me, after all. I get really unlucky with the placement of things. Oh no, it actually hit. Nice. It actually hit. Wow. Who would have expected that? Not me. Alright, so... Well, what we're going to need to do now is I'm actually going to need to do a little bit of auto-delegating with our horse archers and our cavalry. And I'm actually going to go all the way around here and try to do some damage. Oh no, let's not go in the front. I almost got exploded. Did you see that? I literally almost got exploded. My demigryph literally just got killed instantly because it has such a little armor. Yeah, that is something that I really needed to change. Seems like that wouldn't be working out too well. There we go. We've destroyed the cannon at least, so that's all that really matters. Is there another cannon that they have? I'm actually not entirely sure if they do. What is he doing? Are you trying to shoot? Are you trying to shoot the cannon? The cannon is dead, sir. The cannon has been destroyed. Okay, there we go. We should be fine. Okay, I'm just gonna... Yeah, I'm not sure what this guy's doing, actually. Just gonna try and shoot a couple of these guys. Basically, if I try to aim upwards, then I'm hopeful that I'll be able to get multiple penetrative headshots. I'm kind of hoping that that is going to happen. Because some of these guys are actually pretty hardy and kind of difficult to kill. So being able to get numerous of them eliminated is really, really good. Especially with headshots. And... yeah, we should be absolutely fine now. I mean, as you can see, seems like everyone seems to be doing their jobs, which is very, very rare. Let's just say that. Shall we tell my... yeah, I'll tell my infantry to charge in. Why not? Oh, wait. If I shoot that guy, am I going to crash? I don't really want to crash, so I'm going to be more careful than I would be normally. I just bear in mind, I would have shot that guy, okay? I would have shot that fellow. And he probably would have died. Or at least I hope so. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, this is going to be a bit of an issue, so I'm just going to run around here. Try and see if I can do some damage with my melee weapon. Ah, yes. The supernatural blocking. I'm not going to go on about that either. Let's just leave that alone. You know my thoughts on it. Anyway, this guy right here, he's looking mighty, mighty strong on his demigryph. My cannons are actually doing some pretty nice damage, surprisingly enough. Very, very pleased, actually, that that is the case, because it's been a long time since we've actually seen the cannons do anything, but in this one, oh yeah. And this is kind of what I was talking about beforehand as well. Getting a wonderful, wonderful vantage point for your cannons really makes a huge difference, no matter what. Oh, it seems like something is happening here. Oh, yes. My cannons are actually shooting our own forces. Yeah. Well, that's actually not even entirely bad. The main reason why it's not entirely bad is because cannons only knock people unconscious. they don't actually kill, as far as I'm aware, unless they, I think there's a specific perk that you can take that actually does make them kill. I think someone told me about that quite some time ago, but I can't remember. I can't remember what it is. I think it's one of the other perks in the gunpowder tree. I think that does actually make it possible for the cannons to kill, or the mortars, or whatever it is. So yeah, there's that. Anyway, we don't have that at the moment, so most of the people that are going to get hit by the cannons, they are indeed going to be knocked unconscious, including our allies. So even if cannons do manage to hit a couple of people here and there, it's not really going to make that much difference. So for example, if we were to take a look, okay, apparently it is not my artillery crew. Yeah, it was someone else's artillery crew, but as you can see, he eliminated 132 enemies. That's actually insane. 132 enemies just from a couple of cannons. I think that's really, really nice. Obviously, if you think about this in terms of, well, in terms of spells, and you compare it to how incredibly powerful spells can be, then obviously this is, well, not that strong and, you know, a little bit underpowered, shall we say. However, that doesn't mean that it's going to remain that way forever. I feel like the developers of the old Realms have a really, really good head on their shoulders. They seem to really understand what balancing is all about. And, well, we just have to wait and see, you know? We just have to wait and see what they decide to do, because I personally feel like they're going to get a really, really good balance. Because as it stands right now, I personally feel as though Vampire and Damsels in specific, you know, in specific terms, they're actually fine. I think that they are both fine the way they are. Yeah, sure, you know, you could consider them overpowered, but that's the thing. This is a single player experience, and also if they're both overpowered, then doesn't that make them equal? You know what I mean? So if you understand what I'm saying here. Also, it's basically just a case of making it so that enemies or people just generally have slightly more spell resistance if they're talking about higher tier troops. Because obviously if you're talking about higher tier troops, like, yeah, I don't know, maybe the developers could make it so that every tier 4 and above troop has some kind of innate spell resistance. Obviously, this is not for me to say. This is their creation, so obviously it is up to them what they want to do. I'm sure they have something in mind already. But the point is, in those situations, I think that a tier 4 or above unit would probably have some kind of innate spell resistance if that is the kind of unit they are. Because maybe there are some units that just don't have spell resistance, you know what I mean? So, yeah, anyway, if you make it so that, you know, the enemy casters and enemy spellcasters and so on and so forth, if you make it so that they have also the ability to kind of counter your own spells, then that can really make a huge difference too. So that's the point. That is kind of what we're really going for there, or at least that is kind of what I'm thinking will probably end up happening at some point in the future. I don't know whether it will, obviously, but I think that would be pretty cool to see. But yeah, anyway, the point is, spells, in my opinion, are in a pretty good spot. I think, yeah, some of the spells of the Damsel do have to be a little bit tuned. Like, for example, the Winds of Magic cost for some of them do need to get tuned a little bit. But for me personally, I don't think so. I actually really enjoyed the Damsel and the way that it was balanced. But obviously, some people felt it was way too overpowered and really, really strong and all that stuff. And yeah, that's absolutely fine and everything, but you saw how difficult some of those sieges actually were for me. But yeah, obviously it could use a little bit of tuning here and there, I suppose. But from my perspective, as I said, it's a single player experience. I personally don't really mind, because, you know, it's not like this is an esport. You know, if it was an esport and you know, I was going, let's say I was playing as a vampire or something like that, then I was going up against another player who was playing as Empire, and I soloed their entire army because I'm a vampire, and they had over 1,000 troops and I had 100 or something like that. And I just soloed them because I was a higher level vampire. Yeah, that's obviously imbalanced. But the way that it is right now, it's obviously, it's just the AI, you know, you're just fighting against the AI. No one's going to get upset about a vampire being overpowered or a damsel being overpowered or whatever. And that's the point. I think, and this is the one thing that you've got to take into account here. If you think about the cannons and the mortars at the moment, what could be better with them? How could you make them more effective? Because that's, in my opinion, the only thing that really needs to be done to bring Empire into a slightly higher elevation of strength as the other factions. At least if you're talking about the player playing as those factions. Because obviously at the moment, Britannia is a very different beast than if you were to play as Britannia. So for example, if the AI was playing as Britannia, it's completely different because you don't have access to damsels immediately. They do have damsels as far as I'm aware, but they're not going to utilize their spells in the exact same way, obviously, because the player is always going to make sure that they use the best things possible most of the time, unless you're playing a certain kind of build. But the point is, what I would think is probably the best and easiest way to sort of balance this all out is to reduce the power of the other things a small amount. So maybe, I don't know, reduce their damage by 20%, increase the mana costs of the damsel by a small amount as well, and then just bring the Empire's AoE damage slightly higher with their artillery. Because obviously, here's the thing, I'm talking about AoE as in radius, the area of effect radius of the certain pieces of artillery. I think the damage that they do is absolutely fine, but I'm thinking maybe if they just have a slightly larger explosive radius so that they have a better time, you know, hitting multiple targets, I think that could be a pretty good solution. But obviously, as I say, they probably already know what they want to do, and well, I'm not on the team, so, you know, obviously I'm not on the team, so I have no control over that, but I think that that's probably going to be a pretty decent way to go about it. But again, as I say, it is not within my control, and this is just me talking about it, because I always think that talking about game balance, especially when it comes to Bannerlord, is actually quite fun. And, you know, if you don't think so, then, well, I am sorry. Anyway, we can make sure that we get ready for the next war, because that's the thing. We've now actually made peace with those guys. So hopefully they're going to learn their lesson slightly, and they may actually decide not to attack us again. But we are paying 2,900 to Sylvania. As you can see, not very good. Stierland is actually getting paid a huge amount as well, as you can see there. I might actually just want to crush them, to be honest. I might want to just go up against Stierland again and just take their one town and their 4 castles real fast. As you can see, these guys literally have only 1 town and 2 castles, so we should be able to deal with them as well. But yeah, it's looking okay, and we have a very, very large bit of territory in the world at the moment. But you can see the Sylvanians, they've got a lot of fiefs right now. They've got a lot of fiefs. Anyway, that is going to be it for this episode. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.